gentlemen, my friends, Leafs Nation, at long last, Gavin McKenna is a Leaf! Let's talk about it. With the first overall pick in the 2026 NHL Draft, the Toronto Maple Leafs have selected Gavin McKenna. And you might be asking yourself, Steve, you're currently live streaming at a studio that is not in your house. How are you shooting this video in your house? And that is because I'm shooting this at 2:30 in the afternoon. And just hoping. This is going to be a real funny time capsule if they pick, like, Stenberg or something. And if that is what actually happened, just know, Ivor, I have always believed in you. But that's not what's going to happen. It's Gavin McKenna. It was always going to be Gavin McKenna. Let's talk about how we got here, dude. The Leafs, 2 seasons ago, won the Atlantic Division. It is an incredibly difficult division to win, and they won it. Played the Ottawa Senators in the first round, and they dominated, and then they speed wobbled a bit, and then they won it. Another Battle of Ontario victory, notch that. Second round, Florida Panthers, reigning Stanley Cup champions, should be easy. Leafs win game 1, okay. Leafs win game 2, okay. Leafs go up immediately and big in game 3. Oh my God! They're about to do this before they violently don't do it. Like, very aggressively, with all their might, don't do it. The Leafs lose Mitch Marner in a trade that it wasn't really a trade. It was like a free agent hostage situation where they got Nick Waugh out of it at least. And the Leafs were breakneck speed awful. Awful. Like, pretty much right away. And there were moments of light, and you thought maybe, and no. Very no. This is true. In between the Leafs trading for Nick Waugh and trading away Nick Waugh, the Leafs made more waiver claims than trades. Don't you dare look it up. The Marner deal wasn't official until July 1st, 2025. Then the Leafs traded Ryan Reeves for Henry Thrun, 1-for-1. They traded a 4th round pick for Dakota Joshua, and then they claimed Sammy Blake, Hayden Primo, and Troy Stetcher. They made more waiver claims than trades! They lost games. They did nothing about it. They fired nobody except the power play assistant coach, and that worked for like 2 weeks before it didn't. And then all their problems just got worse and compounded. They didn't stick up for each other. Austin Matthews gets his knee taken out by Radko Gudas in one of the most humiliating displays of not giving a good gosh darn about your teammates that we've ever seen in the history of blue and white. And there have been some moments that are contenders. Oh, and then at the end of the season when they were awful, they barely called up and barely played anybody. Oh, and then Brad Treliving got fired in the middle of all that. And we're like, oh, neat. Who's going to replace him? Is it going to be this guy or that guy or that guy? And it's John Chayka. And like, his tenure started pretty nice here, but you got to remember how it felt in April. It was cataclysmic. Oh, and they might bring Berube back. Don't forget about that. And then the day after Chayka is hired, it's the draft lottery. The odds, the sheer odds were that this pick that was top 5 protected for the Leafs in a season where they finished 5th last, the odds were that the Leafs were going to give the 6th or the 7th overall pick to the Boston Bruins. That was the most likely outcome of that draft lottery. And with something like an 8.5% chance of winning, the balls drop, the Leafs pull out magic number 12, and they get the first overall pick. Do you understand? They missed the playoffs in 2015-16 when they finished last. They got the first overall pick. They made the playoffs for 9 straight years. How did they do in those playoffs? Stop asking questions. And then the first time they missed the playoffs, they get the first overall pick again. All the rumors, all the speculation, none of it good. And then you watch the games and they're all awful. And there is a skill to being a team that loses a lot, but still is kind of fun to watch, and the Leafs were not that at all. Holy smokes, Leaf fans, I go through all that to say we earned this moment. We earned this shining ray of hope. And that ray of hope is shining blindingly down on Leafs Nation right now from Whitehorse, Yukon, in the form of Gavin McKenna. Let me tell you about this kid. And you know what? I feel like I can call him kid. He is 18, but the night he was born, that is December 20th, 2007, the Leafs played the Tampa Bay Lightning. Leafs lost. That's not the most depressing part. The most depressing part is I made an LFR video about that game.
Oh, hello. It is I, Hockey Damus, and I shall make great NHL predictions using none other than NHL 2006. Leafs lost. Tosca, get that guy an ice pack. It's gotta hurt to stand on his head like that.
I have been making Leaf videos for longer than Gavin McKenna has been alive! During the 22-23 season with the Medicine Hat Tigers of the WHL, in 16 games, Gavin McKenna had 18 points. That is a good debut. The next season, still 2 years away from being drafted, in 61 games, McKenna had 97 points. This is as a 16-year-old child playing in a league dominated by 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, some players as old as 21 by the end of their final season. The year before his draft year with Medicine Hat, it's laughable. In 56 games, Gavin McKenna had 41 goals. In 56 games, Gavin McKenna had 88 assists. In 56 games, Gavin McKenna had 129 points. During the playoffs, he had 9 goals in 16 games, and add to that, 29 assists. That is 38 points in 16 playoff games. That is more than 2 points per game. I'm guessing they won. You guessed correctly. The Medicine Hat Tigers were champions. Oh, and he took a brief little hiatus in the middle of all that domination to go to the World Juniors and play for Canada, where in 7 games he had 4 goals and 10 assists for 14 points. Again, 2 points per game. His points per game barely dropped from the WHL to the World Juniors. He is enormously skilled. He is a gifted playmaker who has the ability to put the puck in the back of the net. His hands are absurd. He's a little on the smallish side, but it hasn't really seemed to hurt him. He's 5'11", which is perfectly normal in the NHL, and 170 pounds. That's the small side of it. Now, his draft stock through parts of this season has dropped, or at very least the question of Gavin McKenna going first overall was raised, which that just was not a thing heading into the season. Because the rules between the Canadian Hockey League, which is to say the WHL, the OHL, and the QMJHL, it changed. That used to be viewed as professional hockey, or is viewed as professional hockey, whatever it was. The rule was if you played major junior hockey, you were not allowed to attend a Division I school in America. That changed, and now the players can go to Division I schools and get paid to do it. A lot of players hopped over, a lot of players did well, but very few of those players were in their draft year like Gavin McKenna. So, kind of like Austin Matthews, McKenna in his draft year was a bit of a canary in the coal mine. Because remember, a lot of people forget this, Austin Matthews was part of the American Developmental Program, which is a very good, very prestigious program. And instead of staying with them, instead of going to college, he goes and plays in the Swiss League. Again, as a teenager, Gavin McKenna made the choice to go to university as a 17-year-old and play against grown men. Oh, aren't there grown men in the WHL? These are growner men. 5 of Gavin McKenna's teammates from this past season at Pennsylvania State are 24 years old. 2 of them played D. So on any given night, this 17-year-old forward is going up against defensemen in their mid-20s. And there were, indeed, struggles at times. And sometimes I wonder if the struggles were with our own expectations. If Gavin McKenna had stayed in the WHL, how much better could he have done than 129 points in 56 games? Marcus Ruck, who is eligible to be drafted and will get drafted probably today, led the entire Canadian Hockey League in scoring this year with 108 points. 21 points behind McKenna. Oh, and worth mentioning, he played 12 more games. Across the 60 some odd major junior teams in Canada and the United States, spread across 3 leagues in the Western League, the OHL, and the QMJHL, only 4 players this season reached 100 points. McKenna, the year before he was draft eligible, had 129. What was he going to do this year? 150? What would have been enough? He took on another challenge, a more difficult challenge, by going to university. And in 35 games with Pennsylvania State, who we don't have the rights to their footage for, he had 15 goals, 36 assists. He had more than an assist per game in university as a teenager, and 51 points. He led his team in scoring by 9 points, and he didn't even play every game. Here's an idea of the risk that McKenna ran going from the WHL to NCAA. In NCAA, he had 51 points. In the WHL the year before, he had a 54-game point streak. The streak went from the beginning of November until the middle of May. Now, it should be mentioned that this past winter, Gavin McKenna was charged with felony aggravated assault. 4 counts, actually. From an ESPN article written by Greg Wyshynski this past February, the police complaint alleged that a man was punched twice on the right side of his face by McKenna following an exchange of words between the man's group and a group of people with McKenna who had attended a hockey event at Doggy's Pub after the Beaver Stadium game. Later on in the article, based on a review of footage taken from the pub and street cameras, both the district attorney's office and the State College Police Department do not believe that a charge of aggravated assault is supported by the evidence. The district attorney's office said it is withdrawing the felony count and correcting the record regarding the injuries the man suffered. Also, while he was in the WHL the season before, Gavin McKenna was suspended 3 games for one of the nastiest slashes I have ever seen. As the Reddit comments on the post that I looked up pointed out, it looks straight up like a scene from Shoresy. And it does, actually. To say this has been an eventful time for Gavin McKenna would be understatement of the century. But after months of getting scrutinized, having his work ethic called into question, having his defense called into question, maybe he shouldn't have jumped to college jump into question, Gavin McKenna still ended up being the first overall pick in 2026. A lot of people are putting the cart before the horse, saying, where should Gavin McKenna end up in the Leafs lineup? Brother, we have no idea who's going to be in the Leafs lineup yet. Domi might be injured. Machelli doesn't have a contract. Matthew Knies might be getting traded. I have no idea where this kid is going to fit. I have no doubt he's going to play with Austin Matthews on the power play sometimes, but is he really going to play with him at 5-on-5? I'm not sure. Maybe if they're down in a game. Maybe. When the Leafs had Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander all as rookies, that was the best crop of rookies this team has ever seen. And Matthews had 69 points. Both Marner and Nylander had 61. Once you cross 50, you start whispering your way into franchise record territory, which is to say, temper your expectations for this season. It might not quite go the way that you think it's going to go. Long term, sky's the limit. What a ceiling on this kid. But this upcoming season, total wild card. No one knows. Joe Thornton, Hockey Hall of Famer, 1,539 career points, one of the highest scoring players of all time. His rookie year, in 55 games, he had 7 points. 7. Let's say you want him to get 50 points next season, right? That's kind of a lot of points. For a rookie, it is. That would be 0.6 points per game. Since the beginning of the 2020-2021 season, only 24 guys have done that. And all of those guys were rookies, but they weren't 18-year-old rookies. What is he going to bring to the Leafs lineup? How is Jim Hiller going to use him? Who is he going to play with? All of these questions, we have months and months to answer them. Right now, the questions we're going to try to figure out is, what is John Chayka doing with this team? Because either Matthew Knies is going to be a Leaf for at least the next half decade, or he's going to be traded later tonight. I don't know. What do you think of this pick? Let me know in the comments down below. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like to tell your friends. Gavin McKenna is a Leaf.